to Nebraska. It seems like we always have an Omaha connection in these meetings, and that's great. Some great Sarahs and great people from Omaha. He attended St. John Vianney Seminary in St. Paul and continued his formation of priesthood at the North American College in Rome. He was ordained in 2002, completed his license in the dogmatic theology at the Gregorian University in Rome. He served 5 years as a parochial vicar and high school chaplain and teacher, and he's been director of Vocations at Catholic Campus Ministry at the University of Nebraska Omaha since 2008. In 2013, he was elected as president of the National Conference of Diocesan Vocation Directors, one of those acronyms that we often hear, the NCDVD. So, Father Paul, we welcome you. Father
Thank you for that introduction and welcome. Appreciate being here. As mentioned, another rural native, your own bishop who was just with you, certainly a dairy farmer. We were beef and cattle farmers, and that's what you do in Nebraska. Raise cattle. The prices are good now. And I just thought I'd offer a few remarks around the work that happens with NCDVD. And it's an organization that I've been a part of since the first year, 2008. And it was the summer, when summer assignments happen, right? And as I came in, the first invitation I was given was to a conference in Chicago where I was really introduced to the alphabet soup of the church. There was the NCCV, there was the CCLV eventually, there was the NCDVD, and I was spinning in letters and wondering how all of this fit together. And what I came to realize was this group of priests, NCDVD, the National Conference of Diocesan Vocation Directors, had undergone a bit of a transformation over the years. And that transformation was centered around kind of how they ran their conference and what happened at their conference. And that would be its focus on prayer. A really remarkable transformation of the last 12 to 15 years. The conference, as I began to attend it that fall, that September of 2008, I ran into lots of priests that I knew from around the country, and lots of priests that I was happy to come to know. And that's the other key component of the group is the fraternity. Because there's perhaps no work that can be more filled with aloneness in a diocese than that of Director of Vocations. As one pastor said, I never want to have your job. Every fall you have a report card, and every guy's looking, how many does he have? How many? And it was at that first conference that I was introduced to, as well, a more extensive introduction to the work of IPF. They were there, another alphabet soup component, the Institute of Priestly Formation, IPF. And they gave a talk to us new vocation directors at the time, and they said there are 3 lies that you must be aware of as a vocation director. 3 very profound lies. And the first lie is this: you're not really a diocesan priest. You've got one of those special jobs. So you're not like these other priests. You're alone. Yeah, I've heard that one. Yep. It's coming at me even from pastors. The second lie is, well, since you're not in a parish, you're not really a father. You're going to get to know these seminarians. Some are graduate school. What's the charisma of a graduate school student? To be critical. They're going to be critical of you. You're not going to really be a father to them. You're just passing through their lives. And the final lie, and perhaps the most profound lie, having to do with that poster and the needs of the diocese, the projections of numbers, and you must produce. You must produce. And those are compounding lies. You're alone, you're not really father, you must produce. So as I heard these members of IPF say those lies out loud, I just thought, they know my heart. They know what's going on. And I was so happy to hear, those are lies. You're not alone. Look, there's this conference, NCDVD, here to train and support you, and to assist you in every way. And you are a father. Just listen daily to what your men need and how they respond to you as you become more and more yourself. I told the Archbishop the other day that being a vocation director is like an experiment in fatherhood. You run these experiments, one over here with young people and over here with young adults, and an experiment over here, and see what happens. Some blow up, some go great, you don't know what's going to happen, but you're always discerning the movements of the Father's heart for you. And finally, you must produce that very insidious lie. I was just praying with the Gospel of Mark not too long ago, and I just thought I'd share this. Jesus withdrew. And as he withdraws in the morning, he goes to a lonely place and prays. And then Simon Peter comes to Jesus and says, "Everyone is searching for you." And at that point, I really identified with Simon Peter. Here's Jesus. He's been healing and teaching, and now he's off alone, and they had to look for him. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a whole lot of work to be done. Why aren't you doing it? That's what's going on with Peter there. Everyone's looking for you. And how often does that go through our hearts when we look at the needs, concerns, difficulties? Jesus, where are you? Aren't you working? And we tend to believe this sort of heresy that's kind of common. It's shown on bracelets everywhere. It's the heresy of WWJD. What would Jesus do? If you were here? If you were around? If he happened to be available? If I happened to know where he was, what would he do? That's a great lie, because we see Jesus' response. Let us go to the next towns. So he's not all about the work as much as he's about staying with his Father. For that is why I was sent. And then he goes. So he moves with his Father, and he stays with the source of his power through his prayer. His daily prayer. He's discerning with his Father. Moving with his Father. He's not moving on his own. Jesus stands before us as a father. Not what would he do, but what is he doing? I believe you met Father John Horn, and I'll just conclude with this. Father Horn gave me my exercises. Probably wondering, was he a fitness instructor too? You got to be a fitness guy if you're going to be 62 and look like him. Father Horn was directing the 30-day retreat in Omaha in 2010. It was the last time he directed the 30-day in Omaha, and I had the privilege of being with him as my director. And it was very transformative. And this is just to conclude with what the Institute of Priestly Formation is doing. It's addressing the hearts of priests and seminarians every year to become men in intimate, unceasing communion. That's what the Vatican Council says about priestly training. That priests will be trained to remain in intimate and unceasing communion with Jesus, with the Father, and the Holy Spirit. When that happens, then there's a desire to introduce others to that intimacy. So there's no longer what would Jesus do. There's no longer being alone. There's no longer the work that needs to be done. There's only communion. And out of that communion, everything is fruitful. For I have to tell you, the thing I've learned, especially through IPF and my brief time, these last 6 years as vocation director, it's learning John 15. Without me, you can do nothing. I'm finding out all the time what nothing is. What that looks like interiorly and exteriorly. With Him, all things are possible. So I hope you experience here a new hopefulness in your communion with Jesus. Not to look at what lies ahead, but living in this present moment and working with the priests whom you know to be in intimate and unceasing communion in their life of prayer, who aren't harassed by lies and activism that comes out of that, but a truly contemplative work in vocations. That's my hope for you, to be renewed in communion with Jesus. And I pray that you'll ask the same for me. For every day, that's our choice. Will I do this with Him, or try to do it on my own? We'll find out what nothing is. We'll find out what true fruitfulness He desires for us. Thanks for your attention.